All right, kiddos, it has come to my attention that we need a part three deep dive on getting the perfect blend or the perfectly imperfect blend, whatever you prefer, of the Tanglewood Sue-per shifters. They're a new product. They can be a little bit tricky, but they are a ton of fun. And I think I have narrowed down some of the top tips to help you get the most optimum results. So yeah, there are things that I do that I didn't realize I did. And so I had to stop and stare at myself really hard, or stare at my hand to see what it is that I'm doing that you guys need to know. And this is it. This is your video. First up, I'm using a pretty dense round brush. This one is my favorite because the bristles are short enough that I can really get some pressure behind them, but they're not so dense that I can't smush and mush. Bonus, because I can fit it right in the jar. Now look what I'm doing. I have the wax on the brush, but it's not evenly distributed on the tips of the bristles. So I have this just old canvas next to me. Use something that is not going to absorb the wax, all right? This is already primed. And do you see how I got it evenly distributed on all the tips of the bristles? That's step one. And also I've offloaded almost all of it. You don't want a big chunk of wax. Now watch, when I put that on there, see, there's plenty. I think y'all are putting too much wax on the brush. You think you need more than you do. These jars will last you forever if you use them properly. So what I'm doing now is I'm doing my smush and mush. If you've taken any of my classes, you know. But basically, circular motion, slight pressure, and just pushing out the wax the way that you push out the paint. Push it out. Push out the edges of the continent. If you've been in my class, you know what I'm talking about, right? Push it out until there's nothing left on the brush. That's how we make the magic happen. Right? We push it real good. All right, you've got your first layer. The other note I want to make here is that this is wax. It's not paint. I know you already know that, but with wax, you're going to get a mottled effect. It doesn't mean it has to be streaky. It doesn't mean it has to have bald spots, but it is mottled. It's not a spray. So let's set our expectations. To me, that is a perfect first coat. It is not uniform, but it's smooth. All right, so let's start with another color. I like to go with a color that is similar to the first color, slight shift. Let's not jump across the color wheel when we're learning how to blend. That is hard, right? We start with an ombre. We start with a white or a black. And here I'm going from a green gold to a gold green, basically. All right, so, but look what I'm doing. I'm not going right next to that green that I started with. I went to another country, right? I went down to Mexico, and then I'm working my way back into the green. Why is that? Because there's the most on the brush when you first put it down on the piece. So you want to keep offloading it, and as you offload that back into the other color, that's where you get the blend. If I were to take that brush and go straight next to the green, first of all, it would be a little bit heavy. Second of all, it might take up the green. Wax takes off wax. Okay, so you need to be a little bit careful about that. Wax on, wax off, right? Same with doing a paint. It's just think of the same concept. When you put that paint on and you want to do a perfect blend, you want to put the paint a little farther away and wisp it into that. If you put it right on top, you're going to take off your first layer. Same concept applies. Okay, now I'm taking a bigger brush. Okay, so have a few brushes on hand. That's my first brush that I love. But now I'm taking a bigger brush and I'm just really moving the two of these together. I'm blending in right in the middle and pushing it out. And do you see, I'm getting full coverage, but it's mottled. It's mottled. So this is what I do, you guys. I'm just taking another color. I'm offloading it. I'm making sure it gets on all the tips of the brushes. I'm going a little bit farther away. See? And then I work it back down into what I'm doing. I was a little closer there, but I'm feeling a little brave. I'm obviously feeling a little brave. And it's also okay if you have other colors left on your brush. That's fine. To me, that's the fun part. Watching all the colors blend together, even the colors that are on your brush. So you see, I'm pushing it out and pushing it out. Now, do you see how I keep turning the camera back and forth? I know it might be kind of annoying to watch, but these are color shifting, you guys. You have to look from every angle because you're not just shifting or blending two colors. You're basically blending four at a time. a double shift and a double shift. So you need to kind of keep looking from different angles to make sure that the colors from your left viewpoint are blending together and the colors from your right viewpoint. So I like to have a light source. If I'm not right in front of a window, I will set up a bounce light right on my piece. You cannot, trust me, you cannot use the super shifters or blend them if you do not have good lighting really showing you what you're doing. So I'm just repeating, dipping, offloading, smushing, mushing, repeating with different colors in each quadrant and checking my work. And I know you guys are going to ask me what colors I'm using. I don't remember exactly each one because I made this video so long ago. And just now got around to actually putting the voiceover on it. But I believe I'm using all of the Tanglewood Super dupers. Pretty sure I did this right when the dupers came out. So there's 7 colors here and they're all in a set. So you just get them all. Just get them all. Why choose? Okay, I put them all together for you because they go together really beautifully. All right, now let's talk about some things that could go wrong. I mean, I put wrong in air quotes because, wrong just leads you on another journey. Just leads you somewhere else. It doesn't have to be bad. But sometimes if you overwork in an area, remember what I said before? You can pull up the wax in that area and then you've got a little bit of a bald spot. And that can happen if your brush is too stiff, you've got too much wax on the brush. See right there? I went a little too hard. It's a little more mottled than I would like. So there's a couple of fixes. Here's one. Put your wax back on, offload it, but instead of smushing and mushing, okay, well, this is me trying to fix it with the smush and mush, and I'm making it worse. Okay, so this is what not to do, right? Because I'm pushing it away, and I'm thinking I'm trying to blend it, but let me tell you something, I'm not. So let's cut to the next fix. So with this fix, I'm gonna break my rule, and I'm gonna leave it on the brush, and I'm put it on a little bit heavy. Okay, I'm putting it on a little bit heavy, kind of trying to cover that up. But do you see here, I'm dabbing. I'm not smushing. I'm not mushing. I'm just dabbing so that I'm trying not to reactivate the wax underneath. And then around the edges, I'm kind of dabbing it out. This is another way of blending. And you see, I've kind of covered the bald spot a little bit by not reactivating. Now, that sometimes might end up a little heavy, but sometimes it does the trick. So you've just got to play. I mean, that's what these waxes are all about. Don't stress it. Just play with it until you kind of get the blend that you want. So if you are unhappy, if you're like, I don't like it. It's just not what I wanted. Start over. Okay? Use my Sue's Wicked Wax and take it off. Just take it off. It's totally fine. This is how we learn. So here I've just decided, you know what? That fix was fine. I probably would have been happy with it. I could have come back the next day, but I'm impatient. So I'm using the clear wax and I'm wiping off all the excess. And I'm giving myself a fresh canvas. Definitely use a clean, lint-free rag for this. You don't want to get other schmutz on there. And yes, I do recommend using Sue's Wicked Wax for this because it has the same base as the Tanglewood Super Shifters. It has the same ingredients. It will work together. And yes, these are solvent-based. These are not water-based. I know people like to stay all natural. They want to stay away from anything solvent related. But I got to tell you, if you want the job done right and you want the hardest finish, sometimes all natural is not going to give you the same result. And it may not be as durable a finish. Think about what you put on your car. It's wax. Are you going to put all natural water-based wax on your car? No. You're going to get that crazy stinky shit. That's what you're going to use. Same here. All right, so I'm just repeating the steps. I'm just doing what I did before. Do you know what this is called? It's called practicing, people. Y'all think you don't need any practice. That's why I'm making this video. Y'all think I'm going to open up these jars. I'm going to dip in any brush. And why doesn't it look the same as what Tanglewood Sue showed me? Because you've got to practice. That does not make you less of an artist. That makes you more of an artist. Practice on a board. Don't practice on your mother's, grandmother's, great-grandmother's china hutch. Practice on something you found on the side of the road. Practice. And I know you're like, but Sue, these jars are expensive. I can't afford to practice. You can't afford not to. Do you know how many people I've literally sent replacement jars at my own cost because they broke my heart with the fact that they totally did not follow any directions, used up hundreds of dollars worth of product, and we're not happy with the result, I can't take that. It hurts my heart. So I send them more. Okay, that is not an invitation. I'm done with that. That's why I'm making this video. But my best advice is to just do a little at a time and practice the way you would with any other product. Speaking of using up your product, did you notice how when I offloaded onto that canvas that's primed that did not soak in the wax is still sitting there? Okay, you can still use it. You're going to use every drop. So when you offload it onto that canvas, I'm going back in and I'm dipping in and I'm reloading my brush off of what I took off the brush. That's where it's different than paint. Once you offload paint, the paint has dried and it's done. But once you offload the wax, it's not done. It just needs to be warmed up a little bit. So you can scrape that off till it's white again and use every last drop. We are getting so close. We're at the top. I'm really happy with this blend now. I'm really happy with it. And I love going from the golds to the greens, to the reds, to the blues, to the purples. This is why I made these shifters. This is why I wanted to have all the colors, all the oil slick, all the drama in like one side of my piece. So I really hope you guys have learned from this, have enjoyed watching me do this in real time. Okay, not real time as in 30 seconds, but this is the long, lengthy, drawn out, real time version of how I do what I do. Now, before we call it a day, I want to talk about sealing your piece. So unless this is going outside in the rain, I don't really think you need to put a top coat on it. If it makes you feel better, you can, but let's follow the steps involved to do that. Really, all you need to do with this kind of wax, let's go back to the car. What do? You buff it. Same concept applies. I'm using a soft brush. This is the kind you use to shine your shoes. And I didn't wait here, but I suggest you wait 24 hours. But I was making a video, okay? Because if you go too soon, you might pull the wax back off, okay? So wait long enough. I know, put your little patience hat on, and then go back with a soft brush and buff it. Do you see how that's becoming reflective, metallic, almost like a mirror effect? It's amazing. And that's how all the colors pop. Before they were beautiful, but now they're exploding. All right. So once this is done, you have a hard candy coating. That's it. You have your top coat. All right. Here's the beauty. Now that you have your top coat, if you have places, see, I have a little place there that I want to go back in and just do a little modeling, or I want to do a second coat. Now you can go on top of it. It's just like you sealed your first coat and you can go on top of it again. Give it a second though. If you're doing this the next day, I would just do my dabbing method. I wouldn't do the smush and mush. You don't want to press too hard. After a couple weeks, you're good. You're solid. But if you're kind of doing this in the course of a week, just do this lightly and you can keep adding coats. You can add layers of color. You can add different colors. The possibilities are endless. So now you can see the reflected, the buffed versus the recently applied. You can see the difference there. Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool? All right, so let's say you are like, Sue, I'm doing this on a bird bath. I'm doing this on a magic ball. What are those things called? The wishing balls in the yard. Okay, I want you to do all the steps and I want you to buff it. And then I want you to wait 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Why do you need to wait 2 weeks, Sue? I can't handle that. Why? Because this needs to off gas. All right, this is a petroleum-based product. And if we're going to put a top coat on that's a water-based product, which I recommend, right? I have a super high gloss exterior. It's awesome for this. But you got to wait. You got to let that one thing evaporate. You got to let all the off-gassing evaporate. Now it's inert, and now you can put whatever top coat on it is your favorite. I have an exterior top coat that works beautifully, but you got to wait those 2 weeks. That is something I did not make clear. Mistakes were made. Projects were ruined. I'm sorry. I didn't even know that either. Now we do. That's what having a whole new product is all about. We're all learning. So you got to wait. But look at that. Y'all, come on. I'm in love. I'm in love. I hope you guys have fun. I hope you feel the joy in learning how to use these. And I hope that these tips and tricks and additional hints and methods of my madness have helped you create the piece that you desire. Okay? All right. Go forth and practice.